Welcome to Your In Depth, where we walk through and break down our favorite fictional universes. Today we're going to continue our journey in The Two Towers, covering our part 4 of the movie. We aren't even 2 hours in, so buckle up. There's probably going to be a couple more parts. But as usual, I'm Jacob. I'm here joined by Evan, who is holding his cute cat, Evie, too tightly. Evan, let her go.
No!
Anyway, let's go along with this. As we've said in previous episodes, generally our intros are not our first attempts at an intro, and today this is number 3, but we're sticking with this one. We kind of got sidetracked with a lot of the others.
I can make it number 4.
No, you shut your mouth. We need to go with this. I'm eager to get into this episode. But regarding Lord of the Rings news, nothing.
Nope.
Right?
Nothing new.
So,
just reminder, Gollum game, Lord of the Hero movie, Lord of the Rings TV show next year.
Yep, there we are. That's it.
Yeah. No updates on any of those, at least not that I've seen.
Yeah. Okay. And I haven't seen anything either. But last episode we left off where what was his name? Grief? Greem?
No,
Greem?
you're mistaking this with The Mandalorian. This is not Grief
I know.
Karga.
Well, as soon as I said Grief, I was like, yeah, that's not right. But it's something similar, right?
It's Grima.
Like Grima. Yeah, there we go. That's, yeah. Yeah, I did get a little twisted around there, but I knew it as soon as I said it. But it was close. That's, yeah, whatever. Anyway, getting thrown down some steps, almost killed by Theoden, who has been restored. What?
Theoden. Theodred's the son that's dead.
Oh, I read my notes there. Yeah, Theoden. Yeah, see, why? Okay, why is there whole lot? Yeah, let's go for number 4.
Nope. Let's keep going.
Nope.
Keep going,
4.
buddy. Nope. Come on.
I'm the one who edits it. I'm already committed. I'm just kidding. I was reading through my notes as I was saying that, trying to figure out where we were, and I read Theoden because that is the very next line as we talk about, yes, he is dead.
Yes.
Theoden throws him down the stairs, throws Grima down the stairs, and is about to kill him when it was Aragorn that stopped him, yeah?
Yeah.
And so on. And if you, yeah, that was last episode, you guys probably remember.
Yeah.
But that's right where we kind of pick up. He has been sent off.
Yeah, more or less.
Almost killed.
Yeah, more or less banished from Rohan.
Yeah, I would say. But then Theoden asks about Theodred, as he has been regaining his memory, and he's just now learned that his son is dead. They have a funeral, and Eowyn does some chanting crap as they mourn.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if it'd be like a funeral rite, but it's like it's part of their ceremony.
Yeah.
Within within Rohan,
she's. Sorry, I'm cutting you off now. I'm taking a few tips from you. No, it's not part of the funeral. Actually, they're just having that. They're having a normal thing, and you see her over in a tower, and she's just like wanga changa banga danga, like she's just like jumping up and down chanting. Yeah, that's what's happening.
No,
it is part of the funeral, and it seems to be just kind of a I would say, I mean,
it's basically so like the women of the court type of deal, like she is the only female that's alive, part of the royal family, so like part of, I guess, maybe her duties, or part of like what comes along with that during a funeral of like the noble family or whatever, the royal family, I guess, is like this. It's kind of like a song of mourning, part of like a ritual type thing for funerals.
Yeah.
And like while she's singing it, like you can hear her voice breaking, like on the verge of
And she's
tears, and yeah.
right. But they place Theodred into a tomb as kind of, sealing him off, being like, laying him to rest. And then Theoden kind of starts talking. He basically says that life sucks and he has to bear the evil days where young perish and the old linger.
Yeah, because he's
And he
left there
cries.
with he's left there with Gandalf after the whole funeral is over.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it shows some of the tombs in the background. It's a specific flower that grows, like, if I'm not mistaken, only right there on those tombs. And so, with like typical medieval style and whatnot, when it's something like specific like that, it has meaning to it. People take it to mean something. And so, like you said, like Theoden's, like you said, it's like, my son is dead. I have to be here for this darkness to come, the war to come, all this sad, sappy crap.
Yeah.
Um,
But as he's crying, in rides those children who we saw earlier as their village was getting, I mean, people were riding in to destroy it and pillage it and whatever.
yeah. I do think it does a little
they come
time
in.
jump right there, though, like a couple hours or something like that.
It does
Because
seem,
it's like a scene change, but I think it's like a couple hours scene change or something like that.
Mhm.
But
they do come in and they warn them, say what's going on. But as they do approach, one of them falls off the horse.
mhm.
As they tell him this, they offer them food. Theoden says that he does not want war, as he's not wanting more death. Aragorn basically says, well, it's already here. You've already got death.
Yeah.
You know?
So,
Um,
yeah, basically, because within this scene, too, Theoden says that he's going to take his people to Helm's Deep
mhm.
within the same scene.
Yeah, he's basically saying, like, we'll evacuate.
Yeah.
For the time being, we're gonna go off to Helm's Deep. We're not gonna fight them. We're gonna leave.
Yeah, more or less, Theoden's plan is to go to Helm's Deep, which is this fortress of Rohan, where they've gone. Previous kings have gone there when war breaks out. It's supposed to be this very powerful stronghold, keep everybody safe, basically like weather the storm there.
Mhm.
And he, as like you said, like Theoden says like he doesn't want to bring more death to his people. He won't risk open war. So basically, he's not going to risk marching army against army out in an open field, typical medieval fight. And Aragorn's like, well, open war is upon you. Like it's here. Like your best chance is to try and go toe to toe with Isengard, but Theoden's hell bent on trying to protect his people the best way he knows how, which is to go to this fortress.
Yeah, and as they're nope, go ahead.
Aragorn mentions that Éomer has 3,000 riders with him, moving across the Riddermark, so the lands of Rohan. Like if you can get word to him, like he'll come back and help. But again, Theoden's like, no, he's 300 leagues from here, which if I'm not mistaken, 1 league is 3 miles.
Yeah, you've talked about that. I don't recall the exact.
If I'm not mistaken, essentially saying he's so far away, he's not going to make it in time. We're stuck with what we have. And basically, Theoden has like 300 soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all he has left. So, like, it's kind of this back and forth with Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, and Gandalf saying, you need to go out and fight them, and Theoden being like, no, I'm king, we're going to do this. It's a back and forth. Theoden's not willing to budge.
Yeah, right. He orders the evacuation of the city to Helm's Deep. They do that. Gandalf comments and says that it's a trap. It will be. It's a trap. No, it will be a trap. And they will need. He ends up saying they will need Aragorn before the end of this. Like, we will need you, dude. Like you're the heir of whatever, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Gandalf does comment in talking he does say that he's walked the earth 300 lives of men, kind of giving, we've talked, you've talked
Yeah.
that he's walked the earth and been around
Mm-hmm.
for a while, but he kind of gives a little, insight there as to how long. Obviously, lives of men can vary and whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, still a while.
Um. Yeah, but Gandalf, right here in the same scene, also like because they're commenting on Theoden's decision too to go to
Hmm.
Helm's Deep, and he even tells Aragorn like he thinks that he's leading them to safety, but they're gonna get massacred.
Yeah.
Since we have not seen Helm's Deep yet, so I'm not gonna say too much on it. All I'll say is it's a fortress that's put into like the side of a mountain. So
Mm.
it's like there's no escape once you're there, type of deal.
Yeah.
And so like Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Gandalf, they've all been like they all know this. Like they've all been around this land in their travels and whatnot. Like they know what Helm's Deep is. It's a very like well known fortress. Like they know what's gonna happen, even though Theoden can't see it. And so Gandalf is preparing, to go and find help as he's, telling Aragorn that Theoden's gonna need you before the end of this war. Like he like basically telling him like you're our only hope. Help me, Aragorn. You're my only hope.
Mm-hmm. Beep boop beep bop.
But yeah, he with the one you were saying, he says he's walked the 300 lives of men. He's walked the earth, but now he has no time. So basically, like he's got to hurry. Not much time left. If he doesn't go fast enough, they're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And then he does say too, it is an important line. I don't know if you have it written down. But he tells Aragorn, on first light of the fifth day, look to the east.
I did not write that down.
Okay. For
Well, at least not. I don't believe I did, because is this after they've been in the little horse stable thing or before?
this is right before Gandalf rides out. Like he
Okay,
tells
then no,
Aragorn that,
I
then
didn't.
rides out.
I did not
Okay.
write it
Yeah.
down.
So he says at first light on the fifth day, look to the east. Doesn't seem like a big line. It's a big line. But he gives Aragorn that information, then goes bolting out of the stables, out of Edoras to go try and find help.
Mm-hmm.
And one important thing with that as well, he says on the fifth day.
Yeah.
I will elaborate on that once we get to a certain point, but that is important. The fifth day portion of it, because it has. If I were to elaborate now, it spoils. It's a spoiler.
No.
So
Okay.
5 days is an important amount of time that just keep in your head.
Okay. But yeah, they get into a. We cut over to a stable and after Gandalf rides out, they go to evacuate. They're getting horses, and there is a horse freaking out. Aragorn approaches it and calms it. Eowyn tells Aragorn the horse's name. Aragorn says that he was raised in Rivendell for a time because he was speaking Elvish, I believe.
Yeah,
to the
he's kind
horse,
of
maybe.
calming it down, speaking Elvish.
Right.
Because since Aragorn did grow up and live in Rivendell in his earlier ages, from like I'm trying to think of how like teens into young adult,
Mm-hmm.
and so like he's learned some of the elven ways, and like when he's speaking Elvish, it's kind of like, oh, he might be doing a little bit of like elven magic to calm the horse down, but it's kind of I don't know how true that is.
Yeah.
But like the elves, as I've talked before, have this whole mystical thing about them, and Aragorn's picked up on some of that.
Yeah.
From his childhood into his young adult life.
Yeah. But he then says to turn this horse free, basically being like, this horse has seen enough. Let him go.
Because this horse is actually Theodred's horse.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The horse. So when Eomer earlier in the movie found Theodred and brought him back to Edoras before he died during that whole
Mm-hmm.
battle and whatnot, where we only saw the aftermath. This is the horse that Theodred rode in that
Mm-hmm.
battle, um, and it's the horse's name is Brago. Um, but yeah, like you said, Aragorn tells him to turn the horse loose. He's seen enough of war. Um, and Eowyn's watching this all happen as well, like as he was doing this, like soothing it and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And she even comments of like having heard of the magic of elves, but didn't expect like a ranger of the north to know anything about it. And that's when
Yeah, and
Aragorn
and
does
I
say that
commented.
he was raised in Rivendell.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it was out of order by
Also,
like 20 seconds. But whatever.
yeah, it was. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Also, I want to comment that this is the point where I chose to stop for last episode. So, 10 minutes past what we. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
anyway, but we cut to Saruman, who is basically cursing Gandalf. And in comes that slimy piece of crap, informing Saruman of those who were with Gandalf, saying like who all is in his party. Like I saw him riding into town, whatever. And Saruman
Yeah.
learns of Aragorn being there.
Yeah, because he says an elf, a dwarf, and a man. And Saruman asked if the man was from Gondor. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and he says no, it was from the north, the Dunedain, he thought. Then he comments on a ring that Aragorn was wearing, where he says it was, I think, two serpents with emerald eyes, one devouring and the other with a golden flower,
Mm.
or crowned with a golden flower, and it's called the ring of, what the heck was that word? The ring of Barahir.
Mm.
Which Saruman comments that Gandalf thinks he's found Isildur's heir. So I'm assuming that's some sort of ring that's supposed to signify Aragorn as the heir to Gondor.
Oh,
Would be my guess. I'm not entirely sure the whole significance
that
of the
makes
ring
sense.
itself.
But I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, Saruman kind of looks like, kind of like, interesting.
Yeah.
And I commented, I feel like that secrecy of who Aragorn is, at least, isn't so secret, though kind of mainly speculated. Because, like, Saruman doesn't know for sure.
Yeah.
But he's kind of like, maybe.
So it's not a secret that the heir of Gondor is out there somewhere.
Right. Not that part.
The secret is that Aragorn is the heir of Gondor.
Right. That's what I was.
Yeah. And so, like, when we first got introduced to him in the first movie, known as Strider, that was one name that he went by to basically fool any spies from Mordor, or like, from Sauron, to keep Aragorn hidden.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, like, knowing that there's a possibility of the heir being out there is not the secret. The secret is Aragorn is the heir. That's the big secret to it.
Right. We cut back to Edoras, and it is being evacuated. Theoden tells someone that... Hold on.
Tells Gamling to ready his horse.
Yeah, not that. Yeah, hey, join our Discord server. You'll see the inconsistencies in spellings. I misspelled Theoden in one of my things. Actually, for a good while.
Oh.
Gosh, dang it. I don't know. Whatever. But anyway, he tells who?
Gamling?
Gamling.
Yeah.
That
he's
was
like,
one of the kind of like a
that's kind of like one of his
dude.
personal guard.
Yeah, guard. Yeah.
Like one of his close confidants, personal guard, however you want to kind of put it.
Yeah.
But he does
but
specify. Sorry, go ahead.
He says, well, I think we're on the same note there. He says that retreating is not defeat, as they are intending to return.
Yeah.
It's like we're not running away. We're, we'll be back.
Yeah, because I think basically the way everybody here in Edoras is looking at this is we've lost. We're losing or we've lost.
Mm-hmm.
But to Theoden, we're not losing. We haven't lost. The war's not over. We're going to a better defended position. We will come back. We're not going to lose what we have,
Mm-hmm.
type of thing.
We also see Eowyn practicing with her sword. Aragorn comes in and stops her. He like stops her blade with his blade.
Yeah, he
And
uses the knife that he got in Rivendell. Not in Rivendell, in Lothlorien.
Or
yeah, that elven knife.
Yeah.
That one in the first movie where I was telling you the actor accidentally chucked it at Viggo Mortensen.
Mm-hmm.
That knife.
But anyway, they start to talk kind of about fear a little bit. I don't know. People continue to evacuate though. Theoden looks back on the city as they're leaving it. They're marching out, they're walking, and he looks back at the city. And then it cuts over to that slimy Garbo man.
Yeah.
Who says that he basically says what is going to happen. Him and Saruman are aware that Theoden is evacuating Edoras and heading for Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
Saruman sends out some. I think it's Uruk, but might be. I don't know. But I literally wrote Saruman sends out some Uruk ? Evan ...
So
being like turning it to you.
So these are not Urukai that he's sending out. These are plain old orcs.
Okay.
He's sending out warg riders. So we saw a version of those in The Hobbit, in the first movie, in An Unexpected Journey, right before the company got to Rivendell.
Mm-hmm.
We saw a version of warg riders, but those were specifically like Gundabad warg riders. These are specifically Isengard warg riders. It's not much of a difference. The wargs themselves are like a different variation of warg. The orcs are a different variation of orcs. But it's essentially the same thing as like the ones we saw in The Hobbit.
Wait. So Discord has a latency problem. You kind of they're variations of what that we saw in The Hobbit.
So in The Hobbit we saw warg riders.
Warg riders. Okay, yeah.
So these are warg riders as well. The differences between the two is the type of warg it is and the type of orc it is. Right? The orcs that Saruman has is just plain old orcs. Okay. The orcs from The Hobbit were specifically like Gundabad orcs.
Yeah.
The wargs are a different variation of warg.
Gotcha.
Small, minor difference, like nothing. Like they look almost exactly the same.
Okay. I get you. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, he sends out them after them because he knows what their plan is.
Yeah. So his goal here is to essentially ambush them on their way to Helm's Deep, because Grima even says like they'll have women and children with them. They'll be moving slow. They have to bring their provisions. And Saruman's like, we can capitalize on this.
Yeah. We then cut to Frodo and Sam and Gollum. Sam is calling Gollum names, and Frodo is defending him before snapping at Sam.
As Gollum is chasing a fish down a stream. Gollum's like crawling down the stream chasing a fish.
Oh, I was watching some behind the scenes things on this, and actually on your account because I didn't sign out yet, so you can find out the same video, but you've probably seen it. Just seeing the behind the scenes thing there where what's his name? Shoot, what's the guy's name that
I know who you're talking
voices
about. Oh gosh,
I can't think of it. He's usually like literally his name is usually on like the top of my head. Like I'm like because he's been in a lot and he's really like I like him. Andy Serkis or something like that. Serkis, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was just showing him like flailing through the stream, and I think it's this scene. You saying that made me think of it, but maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Now
So
that I'm thinking more. But it was like ice cold.
Yeah, one of the cool things with Andy Serkis when he did Gollum for Lord of the Rings and for the first Hobbit movie. Whenever you see Gollum like thrashing around on the ground or going through the stream like in this scene or anything like that, like even when we saw him like thrashing around up there in like that little mountainy area as Frodo and Sam were trying to get to the Black Gates. That is Andy Serkis literally thrashing around on the ground in like a green suit costume outfit.
Yeah, doing like basically not motion tracking because it wasn't exactly that back like then, but still, they model Gollum or Smeagol, whatever, after the things that he is doing physically,
Well, it was more than that. It was they literally he did all the thrashing and stuff. So everything you see Gollum do here, that is exactly how Andy Serkis did it, and they took Gollum and green screen Gollum over him.
Yeah.
Because he had a green screen suit on. So like
okay. Yeah, that's basically what I was trying to say, but
your stuff sounded fancy and I didn't get it. But I remember there was one interview where he was talking about it, or one of the cast was talking about it, and they had commented on like that suit that he wore, like that almost like green screen suit that he wore when they started. It was like a light gray, almost white, like a light grayish color. By the time they were done with the second movie, it was like almost pitch black from all the dirt and stuff they got put in there. Even after like washing it and whatnot, like. It was so like just covered in like with his sweat and all the dirt and grime and everything like that. Like even washing it repeatedly did not get that like disgusting dirt nasty color out of it.
But something cool I thought at least about that scene. If it's the same one I'm thinking of, I think it is, because he's just thrashing like down it as it's going, right?
Yeah, he's like trying to crawl down it while spinning around trying to catch the fish.
Yeah, and again, I don't have the visual alongside it, so I think it is the same scene, but I was watching it, and behind the scenes, it was kind of cool because, like, there was snow everywhere in this scene, and that's not lining up with the movie, so what they did was they had, like, a bunch of people come in, and they, like, hosed it all down, and, like, got it so it's, like, the ice was gone, the snow was gone, so it looked right. However, the freaking water was still freezing cold, so him doing that... He like flailed through it, and then he's just like, basically in shock. But yeah, if it's the same scene, and I don't want to be inaccurate on where I'm placing these.
I'm trying to think through the movies, and what you're kind of talking about, like thrashing through water. This should be the only scene where it's like, where that would make sense.
I'm looking it up.
Any like from what I can think of. This is the only scene that would make sense for.
Yeah, it probably is. But let me just look super duper quick.
Yeah.
Hold on.
While you're doing that though, like Andy Serkis, especially when it came to Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, like he went full tilt into the Smeagol Gollum character. And because like they used his voice for Smeagol, they used every single action he did. Rolling around on the ground, like crawling through streams, all that kind of stuff was him actually doing it, like dedication.
Yeah. There. Yeah. Wasn't it this scene?
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah. So that is right, but it was just kind of cool. About that, because it was like all just snow everywhere and all that stuff. But yeah, it's really cool seeing how all these different actors, like really how well they commit to their role, how they like with Aragorn, Viggo Mortensen doing all the like walking everywhere, doing all that stuff. It's just it's cool to see that amount of dedication, and it's, I want to say it probably is along the same lines at least of method acting.
Well,
but it's just cool to me.
Yeah, and Peter Jackson even has said too in an interview he did for one of the Lord of the Rings movies, like shortly after it came out, like the characters we see in the movies, especially like Andy Serkis and like Viggo Mortensen, Elijah Woods, Sean Astin, all of them, right? Like. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just a character role for them. Like, that character was the person. So, like, there would be times where Peter Jackson would be on set and he'd go to talk to Viggo Mortensen and he would call him Aragorn because Viggo Mortensen was literally just, he is Aragorn. Like personality wise, the way he approaches stuff, like that is Viggo Mortensen's personality.
Hmm.
Like Andy Serkis, like his personality is definitely like a Smeagol personality. Very goofy, very funny. Like likes to mess around, that whole thing, the Smeagol side of it. Like the personality of the character and the personality of the actor for most of these like lined up perfectly.
Hmm. Moving along though with the actual movie, Sam calls out Frodo for being kind of obsessed and influenced by the ring as he snapped at him and all that.
Yeah.
And Frodo claims that it is his task, like, I'm supposed to be doing this, like,
Yeah.
alone, basically. And Sam says, like, kind of like, don't you know who you sound like? And
Yeah.
now in this, was he referring to Boromir and kind of how he had gotten, like, obsessed with it, like how assertive he was and like how,
No,
or was he?
he's if I'm not mistaken, he's actually referring to Gollum.
Okay.
So like their first encounter with Gollum was after the ring, and he's like, "Where is it? Where's it
Yeah.
at?" That type of thing, and that's kind of what Frodo's becoming.
Yeah.
Because Sam, like I've said before, Sam has this very slanted view on Smeagol, where he only sees Gollum, he only sees the tricks, the lies, and
Mm-hmm.
he even brings that up here, in this scene, because he says something along the lines of like, he's not helping us to help us, like he only cares about the ring. That's all he wants. That's the only reason he's helping us, so he can try and get it. And that was one thing that kind of made Frodo snap. And Frodo even comments like, I gotta try and save I gotta know you can come back from what this does,
Mm-hmm.
type of thing. As it hits a little bit of like a calmer part of their conversation, he kind of makes that comment, but it's definitely like, it definitely goes from like a almost like a calm conversation to Frodo's in his face right away because the ring is
Yeah.
definitely like getting to him.
Mm-hmm. But then it cuts ahead to them being asleep. Gollum is talking to himself again about the hobbit stealing the ring. We see then kind of this back and forth between Gollum and Smeagol.
Yeah, so
As we've said before, and you've pointed out, it is kind of this split personality, but we see these two interacting.
yeah, so typically, if I'm not mistaken, with split personality disorder, the split personalities don't remember what the other one does.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong in that, but if I'm not mistaken, that's how that works typically. But in this instance, it's Smeagol and Gollum are aware and are not just aware of what the other one has done, they are aware of what the other one is doing, like in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they're both there, they're both watching, they're both hearing at the exact same time of what's going on. So Smeagol and Gollum, like we see here, easily can have conversations with each other. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and we
And I
really
mean,
get to see the difference between the two in this scene.
right. And we've seen, I mean, you've seen them kind of like in the past how Gollum has talked. It's been like we, or like the different ways he's referring to himself is multiple, and it is kind of like, yeah, it's indicated this, but we haven't really up until this point seen them interact in this way. And in this, we do see Gollum just beating down like Smeagol verbally.
Yeah, well, and because
just like really being the negative side of
the only other time we get to see kind of like a little side by side of Smeagol and Gollum is all the way back in The Hobbit. But even with that scene, with like when Bilbo first gets the ring, when they're having the game of riddles, it's they're both on the same mindset of like, we want to eat him, we want food, and it's just like kind of like a nice approach to it, and then an aggressive approach to it. Nice approach, aggressive approach. But in this one, they're arguing with each other, like they're at odds with each other.
In that it was a back and forth, but it wasn't like with each other. It was kind of like switching between, but directing at, in that case,
at Bilbo.
Bilbo. Yeah.
But in this one, they are butting heads in this one.
Hmm.
Like they're arguing because Gollum is still trying to get the ring,
Hmm.
right? And he's telling Smeagol like they'll cheat you, they'll hurt you, they'll lie to you, they're gonna use you and like basically leave you for dead. Smeagol is under the impression that him and Frodo are friends, like they're on his side, they trust him, type of deal.
Hmm.
And they just keep going back and forth.
Mm. But yeah, and Gollum is claiming to have survived. Like you have survived because of me. Like
Yeah,
this is the only reason we're here. Smeagol ends up telling Gollum to leave, asserting himself, and Gollum seems to have left Smeagol's
yeah,
personalities.
and
And Smeagol kind of rejoices at
well,
this.
and this too, right before that, because it will be important into the third movie. Gollum tells Smeagol like you're a liar, a thief, a murderer.
Yeah.
So that's gonna play a role at least a little bit into the third movie. Um, basically, and it's basically just Gollum trying to bully Smeagol into submission,
Hmm.
like bully his alter ego into submission in his own mind.
Hmm. Um, but it cuts to morning, and Smeagol has brought rabbits. Kind of like, I brought you guys food. Here you go. And then he starts eating them raw, and Sam yells at him. Sam then takes the rabbits and prepares them into a stew. And Smeagol says, "Stupid fat hobbit ruins it."
Boil
Basically
a
being
mash,
like,
I'm sticking him in a stew.
"Not yet,
I know. I just had to say it. I had to
you freaking dork."
say it.
Um, but anyway, because he's used to eating things raw like that, he's
Mhm.
never really prepares them or cooks them into food. So he's like, "You stupid fat hobbit, you ruined it." Um, but then Frodo hears something, so he kind of wanders off. And at this point, yes, Sam is talking about all the different types of food that you can do things with, and he does the potatoes thing, and as you
The
just said, the
the meme because he's
hmm
like in some nice taters, and Smeagol's like taters. What's taters, precious? Potatoes. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew.
yeah. Um,
I've said that to
but
you
Sam,
before you've watched the movies, and you're like, "What are you talking about?" And now you
yeah, there. I
understand.
remember. Well, I remember there was a couple times where you've said that. The first one, I'm like, "What is wrong with you? Like, are you, you know?" And then it was like, then at another point, I had seen the memes at least. And so I'm like, okay, I understand what it is, but I haven't seen it in the context of the movie. And I don't know, it's not necessarily much context, but it's, still, now I've seen it, yeah, and that.
I find it
Um,
hilarious. I saw these shirts.
oh, I love it.
Because
But it's,
I'm in
yeah,
a Lord of the Rings group on Facebook, and there's these shirts that group was selling, and it literally said, "Boil and mash them, stick them in a stew."
that's great. Um, but Sam and Smeagol go back and forth, taunting each other a little bit as how they were to prepare food.
Oh,
Um,
so within the scene as they're going back and forth, um, says something like, nice golden chips. What's he say? Like in a cooked fish, and Gollum like spits at him like a bleh, like saying like gross. And in an interview, Andy Serkis was like, "That was my spit. That was the only part of me that you actually see in the movie. That was my spit." He claimed it like that was mine. That was actually my spit that you saw there.
that's funny.
He was all excited about it too in the interview. He was so happy.
Seems like a funny dude. Um, but we see Frodo and he's moving along after what he was hearing, and he hides on an overlook. Sam and Smeagol then join him, and they look upon corrupted men, I guess, marching. They're servants of Sauron.
hmm
And they are riding Oliphaunts, uh, named Timothy. No,
No.
different. Never mind. It's yeah,
So
but they
yeah,
look like big elephants, and they have like big old baskets / like forts on them.
yeah. So they're referred to in this movie as Oliphaunts or elephants.
Hmm.
Um, But the war version of them that we actually see here, like, so the elephant itself, the Oliphaunts is just the creature, but when it has that big old like basket or like fortress on it, it's known as a Mumakil.
M-
Yep, a Mumakil.
Some of these names are getting me, man. But okay.
And so there's this YouTuber that I like to watch. He plays some of the strategy games for Lord of the Rings and whatnot, and he refers to them as Mumaks.
Mumax?
Yep, Mumaks. Because like you can play like in the strategy game, like you can play as like Sauron and play as the orcs and whatnot. And like one of the units you can make is a Mumakil with like archers on the back, and it can trample through other like whoever you're fighting and whatnot. And he'll be playing like, oh man, we got Mumaks inbound. I got Mumaks coming in. But yeah, but these guys are for purposes for having something to refer to them as, besides something like corrupted men or something like that, they are Haradrim.
Isn't that when you've got both parts down there?
No, you're thinking of a different word there, buddy. um, Jacob, stop putting a note down. Keep that in there.
I don't want to put that in there.
But no, they're known as Haradrim. They're from the country of Harad, which is south of Mordor. Whereas the ones that we saw marching through the front gate, I think they were Easterlings, further east of Mordor. And again, just like the Easterlings, how I had talked about them when we saw them, the Haradrim have been at war with Gondor for years upon years. So when they see Sauron and he comes along and is like, "Hey, help me help me destroy Gondor," they're like, "Yes, let's do it." So it's just another country or another kingdom that Sauron has brought under his control, under his command, to help take out Gondor and help take over the world.
Sam remarks that he's like, no one at home is going to believe this. Like, nobody back at the Shire is going to know, is going to believe that we've been seeing all this stuff, and especially this.
It's basically like here in the United States, like it just like basically like, okay, let's say there's 0 zoos in the U.S., right? Not a single zoo within the United States. We would hear about elephants over in Africa, and that's how we would hear about them. Like we wouldn't be able to go to a zoo and see one. So like that's basically what this is for them. Like living in the Shire, they don't have elephants wandering around through their pastures and whatnot. Like elephants are like something they hear in stories, and so to actually see one is like a big deal for them, at least. Now, if you go to Sri Lanka, though, you can watch elephants walk down the street.
But yeah, Sam remarks that, he says that, and Smeagol leaves after a bird takes off. And then in come some arrows and start killing all of the hermaphrodites, or whatever you call them. And anyway, and so Sam and Frodo are stopped by these attackers.
Yeah.
Who say that there are no travelers in this region, only servants of the Dark Towers. Yeah,
because I mean, like right before that, during this ambush, it just shows like brief flickers, like in the bushes and in the foliage as they're attacking the Haradrim. And so we don't really get like a good view of who is attacking. Jacob, get your mind out of the gutter. I saw that chuckle.
It just sounded, dude, come on.
No, nope. That has never come into my mind when thinking about the Haradrim. You are just take your mind, grab it out of the gutter, and shove it back into your forearm, because that's where the brain goes.
You're just trying to set me up. Anyway, they talk a little bit about duty and mission. These men then bind Frodo and Sam's hands.
Yeah, well, because they
don't believe that they're just travelers. They're like, dude, you're here. You have to be an enemy.
Exactly.
Really.
Because Sam says, like, we're just innocent travelers. And like you said, one of them says there's no travelers in this land. And he kind of references over to this dead body lying close by, because during the ambush, one of these Haradrim got shot out of like the basket thing on top of the elephants, and
Hmm.
landed there right close to Frodo and Sam, and that's like you were saying, they kind of talk about duty and honor and whatnot.
Just
Um,
basically being like, this guy probably didn't even know he was on the wrong side. He didn't
yeah,
know.
exactly.
He just was fulfilling the duty
He was
given to him.
basically saying like, we see these guys as the bad guy, but they see us as the bad guy. So whose
Hmm.
cause is more just? Whose cause is right? Who's on the right side of this conflict, basically? Now, once you know that they're helping
I.
Sauron, you can be like, well, obviously those guys are the bad guys and these are the good guys. But
Hmm.
in this context
Yeah.
specifically, like these soldiers that have just been ambushed, as far as they know, they're still at war with this enemy they've been at war with for however long. They're just
Hmm.
marching off to battle.
Right.
Like they're marching off to war with their allies, just like you know Gondor. I'm sure like would attempt to do. They would try and get allies, or like Rohan would attempt to do. They would try and get allies.
Hmm.
Like any of that type of stuff. Like when you go to war, you try and find your allies. You try and fight with them, so that way you don't get slaughtered. And
Hmm.
this guy that's talking about it's just kind of like it's almost like he's trying to have an open mind to the situation type deal. You know, that kind of thing.
Hmm. We then cut over to Gimli, who is talking to Eowyn about dwarf women. He says that they are often mistaken for men. Eowyn turns to Aragorn, who says it's because of the beards,
Hmm.
which we have talked about, I think, in our Hobbit
Yeah,
coverage.
dwarves, regardless of male or female, have beards in Middle
Hmm.
Earth.
But Gimli continues saying that it's often believed that there are no dwarf women, uh, and just kind of talking about it.
The dwarves
And
just
then
spring out of holes in the ground.
Mhm. Which, by the way, he was riding a horse, and this horse takes off, and he gets thrown off of it.
Yeah. And I find it funny that he kind of made that comment because it's another like lore thing. So the way that dwarves were created within Middle Earth was they were created like from the ground.
Mm.
Like the first dwarves were created from Earth itself, type of deal. That's why they have such a connection to the Earth. That's why they liked mining and all that kind of stuff, living down in the Earth
Hmm.
because of their origin story. So like him making that
Hmm.
comment, it's like it's a lighthearted comment, but when you get down into like the lore of it and like you know piece it
Yeah,
together,
it's more accurate than,
yeah, it's more
you know.
accurate than maybe even Gimli realizes.
Mhm. Um, but Gimli was talking to Eowyn, and they're just kind of having a lighthearted conversation. Theoden comments that it's been a long while since he's seen his niece smile. She was young when they brought her father back dead. He was cut down by orcs. She watched her mother succumb to grief and then leave or something. And then what happened with Theoden? It's like she's been through quite a bit. Um, but he's just saying it's been a long while since he's seen her smile, so it's kind of
Yeah.
like nice to see all that.
Yeah, because basically, like, her parents died, and Theoden had to take on being her father figure, like her role model type deal, while also like grieving himself for, I believe, his brother and sister-in-law. I think it was
I mean,
Theoden's
it would
brother,
be,
I
yeah,
believe. Well,
probably.
I don't know
I
if
guess the other way it could have worked
yeah, I don't
was,
know if her mother was the relative was blood related or if the father was blood related. But regardless, like dealing
yeah,
with that grief
it's
himself,
family,
and then
regardless.
also having to like try and console her as a child, and
Hmm.
like help her through her grief as well. And then the whole deal that he ran into with Saruman and her having to watch him go through all of that, and
Right.
all that stuff compiling on.
Yeah. Um, but then we cut ahead to some people like they're kind of, I want to say, sitting down for a bit, making
So
camp.
this whole thing right here is extended edition, by the way.
I love it.
Yep.
Okay. It's probably my favorite. But anyway, yeah, they're making camp and stuff. Eowyn brings in some stew to people. She's got like a bowl of it, or more of a pot, I want to
Yeah,
say.
and it looks like
Um,
bread just put in water. That's what it looks like.
yeah. Um,
Um, but she gets a bowl, like she offers some to Gimli, and he's like, no, no, thank you, I couldn't have any more. type thing. And then she comes over to Aragorn and gives him a bowl, and he goes to eat it, and you just see the look on his face as he tastes. Is like, this is freaking disgusting, But he doesn't want to hurt
Yeah,
her
he's
feelings, so he takes a couple bites of it. Um, and as she turns away, he goes to like dump it out on the ground, and she turns back, and like he burns his hand because it pours all over his hand.
yeah, because she turns around and he's just like kind of and stops because he's like, oh no, 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 I don't want, because he doesn't want to hurt her feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, and then yeah. And she asks him, though, as he's sitting there, she asks him if it's true that he rode to war with Thengel.
Yeah.
Thengel,
her grandfather.
Her grandfather. Yeah. He says that Theoden has a good memory because that's who told her that. As he was just a small child at the time. She says that Aragorn must be 60, 70, and he kind of just remains silent, and she's just like, wait, what? Like, how
80?
old are you? And he goes 87.
Yeah.
Éowyn says that she's like, oh, so you're one of the Dunedain, blessed with long life. She talks about how it is said that his race passed into legend. He comments that there are few of them left.
Yeah. And I think I've said it before, but like the whole long life thing for Aragorn at least comes from with the Dunedain, like his lineage. Like he has at this point like this very minute trace of like elven, like of elvish in his blood.
Yeah.
Which gives him longer life.
Right.
But I've gone into that before, and I'm not going to deep dive into that again. Because yeah.
The Northern Kingdom was destroyed long ago.
Yeah, and I referenced that as well. That was the whole back with the Hobbit when Angmar came down and swept through and all of that. That's when the Northern Kingdom fell, like 3,000, 4,000 some odd years ago.
Gotcha. She apologizes though and says, "Please eat," and then she just stands and watches. But at this point, I want to take our sponsor break as we do have another ad read and then our normal sponsor and stuff. So I just want to get that out of the way because we are about an hour in. So, yeah, our ad read. Hold on. This episode is brought to you by Éowyn's Elegant Eatery. The holidays are approaching and dinners are to be made, but why does it have to be by you? You can visit Éowyn's Elegant Eatery just down the road from the Rohan Senior Care, or you can get online and submit an order. This eatery is a single location restaurant that specializes in dine-in and mail delivery meal solutions. This year's chef's choice item is stew. So, release the stress of the holidays and let Éowyn's Elegant Eatery supply you with the meals. But don't take it from us. Noteworthy publications such as the Edoras Post and the Rohan Times coin this place as average at best and bland. Éowyn's Elegant Eatery has received many reviews on Yelp. Username Son of Gondor 2931 writes, "It's as if mashed potatoes sat in a dwarf's bathwater, given that dwarves bathed." And Dunedain Daddy 210 says, "This tastes like orc sh." Click the link in the description to submit an order and use code INDEPTH for your first meal box free.
You won't want a second.
Anyway, our normal sponsor now. Anyway, we cut ahead to nighttime, and Aragorn hears Arwen's words about giving him her heart. He has a dream where she is there with him, and is this extended as well?
No, it's not.
This one isn't?
Nope.
This seems like an extended scene.
No, so they included this scene, and I want to say one or two other scenes with Éowyn in it. Just to remind you that she's still there, and there's still that love interest.
Yeah, because like Aragorn's being probably because Aragorn's being nice to Éowyn, but it's not wanting. They're not wanting to like be like now he's in love with her or kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, and because in the second book, in the Two Towers book, if I'm not mistaken, Awen's not even mentioned once.
Hmm.
So when it came to filming the movies, they just wanted something to remind you that she's still there, type of thing, you know.
Arwen, you mean?
Or Arwen, yeah, Awen, Arwen.
Gotcha.
Whatever.
Aowen's whatever.
I know they're both. Okay, spoiler alert. They're both love interests for Aragorn, okay, and he only gets one.
Okay. Well, anyway, he has a dream where Arwen is there with him. He comments on it being a dream, and she says then it's a good dream, and she kisses him. She then says sleep. He speaks to her in Elvish about some stuff, kind of saying he doesn't really know his path, all that.
And then he wakes up to this horse tongue all up in his mouth.
She tells him to trust his heart.
Oh, come on, Jacob. Not even a response. Come on.
That was my response. She tells him to trust in his heart and to trust us, as she put it, to trust them. They kiss again, and we cut to Aragorn walking. And so he's woken up. It's the new day.
So,
and I think really quick before you elaborate, I do think this may be. Oh,
this is
I go ahead.
Me thinking. This.
Frick, set aside 3 minutes.
I know that at the very beginning of this, Aragorn says that this is a dream, but some of the conversation they have in here makes me think it's not a dream. That it's like that it's a flashback.
It does seem like he's dreaming of there's like some overlap. It's weird.
Yeah, because she tells him that you must go with Frodo. This is your path.
Yeah.
Like if this was a dream, that would not be in his dream because he's not with Frodo. You know, like Frodo and Sam are off on their own right now.
Yeah.
So like
I don't know. I don't know, buddy.
Maybe it's a mixture of a dream and a flashback. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I was like reading the subtitles here as they were speaking in Elvish. I was like, this does not sound like a dream.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that's probably a good place to stop because it is a new day. And it's right at about an hour and 50 minutes, 52 minutes, actually. So I think that's probably a good place to stop it. And it puts us literally just about right at an hour because we started at almost 11 minutes into our recording and is currently an hour 10. So, yeah. But, I think that's probably a good place to stop. I guess, we'll comment, I guess, next episode on the Monday episode as to why it didn't get recorded. But if you're listening to this because you listen to every single episode or whatever, because you're awesome, and I don't think that anybody does that, but that'd be cool. If you do that, we did not have an episode on Monday because we recorded half of it, and then something came up and I needed to leave, and then I had a wedding to go to this weekend, and I was away, and we just didn't get to record by Monday.
So it was all Jacob's fault.
It was. I had stuff going on.
I was joking. Jacob, stop it.
No, I'm admitting it.
Stop it, Jacob. Stop it, Jacob.
You're slapping yourself. Keep it up. Hit harder. Anyway, so, yeah. Anyway,
I think I got that one on the recording.
The slap?
Yep.
But anyway.
Yeah, anyways,
so
normal stuff with 1,000 downloads is blooper reels. I don't know if you have a estimate of how close we are to the next one or not, Jacob.
I gotta check. Might be halfway there. Okay. Maybe. I gotta make sure. I gotta look back. Because somewhere in our notebook I wrote down what our downloads were at when we moved over to Anchor.
Yeah.
So I can figure that out.
Yep. And then also once we finally hit 25 reviews on Apple Podcasts, we'll get a live stream going for y'all to interact with us with questions,
Yeah.
comments, concerns, anything like that while we're doing a live coverage.
Yeah, so leave the Apple reviews. Get in contact with us. We got all the different links so that we say in every episode, but check out the one link in the description to be directed towards all of them. You can support us on Patreon for uncensored and early access content. But other than that, yeah, just keep the downloads coming. Share it. Sometimes word of mouth is the best way to advertise. Review, get in contact, all that crap.
Till next time, peace.
Goodbye.
Deuces.